But let's get to another team that was very disappointing as well, but they aren't alive, and that's the Cleveland Browns. 6-10, lose to the hapless Cincinnati Bengals on the last weekend of the season.
How shocked are you? I mean, you picked them to make the playoffs. You like what they did in the offseason. A lot of people did. People in Cleveland were so excited, right? They were finally – they had all these players. They had on paper – they had a young star quarterback or allegedly star quarterback. They wound up getting OBJ from the Giants. Everybody was like, wow, Kareem Hunt, who was a good player in Kansas City. All this stuff, Chris.
I'm not hugely surprised, not shocked. Obviously, like you said, I picked them to make the playoffs. As a wild card, I picked the Steelers to win that division. And shout out to Mike Tomlin, did a very good job with his
he did, with all the injuries and stuff.
Carousel at quarterback. But I'm surprised because obviously, again, I thought they'd be one of the final 6 teams standing in the AFC. But Rob, what I saw with that team is just a straight up lack of maturity. A straight up lack of maturity. And I said it at points in the regular season. If this team gets on a run, which they really never did, but if they got on a run and won 3 or 4 games straight, I could see them falling off because they wouldn't be able to handle it. The success would go to their head. I didn't like it. You and I have talked about it on our show, The Odd Couple, plenty of times. We didn't like all the trash talk before the season.
Yep.
The defensive back with Randall talking about, we're going to be so good, people going to think we're cheating. Do something first. I mean, really? Really? It was a joke, and they were just from – you saw what happened with Myles Garrett hitting somebody over the head with a helmet. I mean, you saw the OBJ stuff, Watchgate, Cleatgate, Visorgate. And it was just week after week, Baker Mayfield, all his comments. And now, this past weekend, getting into it with a fan. Not a huge deal, but still, it just speaks to the lack of maturity that was on that football team. And, Rob, I think that's a big reason why they're not in the playoffs.
No doubt about it. And it's really easy, Chris, to look at Freddie Kitchens and put it all on him, okay? Because he was never a head coach. Right, it is.
And he did get fired. We said it earlier. Freddie Kitchens is gone.
And I don't have a problem with him being fired, Chris, because he wasn't ready for that job, okay? But there's bigger fish to fry in Cleveland. And, in fact, there's a story out there on NBC Sports that Mike Florio, right, Pro Football Talk had that the quote is, John Dorsey is, quote, not completely safe in Cleveland. And, Chris, I think that's fair in that John Dorsey is the one who put this all together, Chris. So it's easy to just blame the head coach. But let's be honest. Remember when they were interviewing coaches, John Dorsey was trying to force Freddie Kitchens, who had started out as the running backs coach there, became the offensive coordinator, right? They had some success last year with Baker Mayfield, so they wanted to keep him around to make sure that he was involved. And they tried to force him, telling these other proven coaches that they had to take Freddie Kitchens as their offensive coordinator. And all those coaches, Chris, said what? No way, no how, I'm not doing that. I'm going to pick my own offensive coordinator, right? Which is what most coaches is going to do. You're not going to force and give me my offensive coordinator, who's your guy.
Most coaches worth their salt.
Exactly. So what happened? They couldn't get anybody to take the job because Freddie Kitchens came with it. So John Dorsey gives Freddie Kitchens the head coaching job of a team, Chris, with those personalities, right? And Baker Mayfield, OBJ, just all the people that were there. And I knew this was going to be a disaster. I told people this they weren't going to be able to come together this quickly, not for a coach who hadn't proven himself as a head coach, and with the cast of characters. And when you look at the team, the way it was put together, you could say, oh, look at all the talent on paper, but I don't know if that really worked together. That's why they struggled. So John Dorsey, to me, is just as much to blame as Freddie Kitchens, Freddie Bathroom, whatever you want to call him today. But if I'm the ownership in Cleveland, I take a good long look at John Dorsey, and I'll say this right now, Chris. I would fire him along with Kitchens.
Wow.
I really would. He might have, and take a look at the makeup of the team, They got some talent. They're probably going to do some tweaks. Yes, I would fire John Dorsey as well because he's the one who ultimately turned over the keys to the Mercedes to a kid who just got their driving permit. And I mean Freddie Kitchens as far as never being a head coach.
Yep. Look, I hear you in that when you're 6-10 and you've got the history of the Cleveland Browns, no, you can't leave any stone unturned, right? There's nobody safe. So you have to look at everything. You are a horrible franchise.
Exactly.
And you just had a disappointing season. So I'm with you in that I look at everything, including John Dorsey. However, at the end of the day, I keep John Dorsey, and here's why. Unlike Freddie Kitchens, John Dorsey has a track record of getting it done. He does. When he went to Kansas City, Rob, they had been 2-14 the year before he got there. They had made the playoffs 1 out of 6 seasons, and he turns around immediately. They become one of the top teams in the league. And then Cleveland, from 1-15, 0-16, and now 7-8, 7-8-1, 6-10. So I would give him another chance. But we'll get to that later. Let's get to one of the great guys to talk to today. One of the great guys in the league, very well liked around the league. And contrary to what some people say, did a very solid job as a head coach in this league in Oakland and with the Cleveland Browns. It is former NFL coach Hugh Jackson. Hugh, welcome to the Dan Patrick Show with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Great to be here on Monday.
This day, I mean, I feel bad for a lot of coaches. Obviously, it's one of those jobs where, you can get fired publicly and all that. But as a head coach, I mean, do you feel for these guys and just know that a day like today, Black Monday, how tough is this on head coaches?
Oh, it's hard. I mean, I do feel for them because I know being one of 32 is a tremendous accomplishment. But when it's over, it doesn't just affect you. All the highs that you get, that your family, your friends, and everybody that you're involved with feel when you get the job. They also feel the lows when it's over.
Hey, Hugh. We were just talking about the Cleveland Browns, and you, of course, worked there, and you were the coach. But I thought John Dorsey putting Freddie Kitchens in the spot that he was in, where I thought he wasn't ready yet, and he tried to basically force him as the offensive coordinator on a couple of guys who had interviewed for the job. Nobody was willing to take it. How do you see that? Was Freddie Kitchens prepared to be a coach of that team with those personalities? I thought he was put in a tough spot.
Well, it's hard for me to say because I don't know what was discussed or how that was all brought about. Obviously, Freddie had been a running back coach, had never been a coordinator, and hadn't been a head coach. So, I mean, that is a tough spot to be put in. I think there's a progression to all of this. I think when you supersede the progression, sometimes things don't work out as well. So I'm not going to say that that's the reason why it happened that way. I don't have that answer, but I just do know that, obviously it didn't work. There's a tremendous talent base there now. So whoever gets this job is going to have an opportunity to coach a lot of good players.
Hugh, as Rob said, you were in Cleveland. And look, under the present ownership, Jimmy Haslam, they have now had 6 head coaches since that ownership took over 7 years ago.
Wow.
They've had 12 since the Browns returned to the NFL in 1999. And as we know, none of them have had success. From some of the big names to the unknowns, nobody's been able to turn it around. What do you think really at the root is the problem there in Cleveland?
Well, obviously, I was there. So you want to say that when you look at it, there's been, as I've said before, I'm not saying something I haven't said before, there's been a lot of great coaches that have come through Cleveland, and they've gone on from Cleveland, and their careers have taken off. So it's hard for me to say what it is, but I think you're alluding to something. There is something, obviously, because for some reason it hasn't worked. And I hope it does because there's a tremendous fan base there. I think the players deserve it. Obviously, the fans deserve it. The organization deserves it. But I think what you have to do is look at what has been the common denominator of it all, and just try to look through that and try to work through that piece and see if you can figure out what it is that is the problem.
Can I follow up quickly,
Okay,
Rob?
yep.
We've seen owners that maybe too involved. Hands on everything.
Jerry
and
Jones.
They don't let
I'm sorry.
Right. They're not letting the football guys do everything, do what they need to do. What is Jimmy Haslam like as an owner? I mean, obviously we see quotes from him and he's somewhat involved, but is he too hands on?
Well, again, he's, when I was there, Jimmy, obviously has things that he wants to know, but I didn't feel like he was too hands on. You just don't know, who's talking to who sometimes. That's all. In order for any organization to work, I think everything has to be aligned correctly. The vision has to be stated, and then you go make it happen. I think that's first and foremost in any organization that has to happen in order for it to have success.
Our guest is Hugh Jackson, of course, former NFL head coach. This is the Dan Patrick Show, the odd couple with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker filling in. Hugh, we mentioned Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. Jason Garrett hasn't been fired yet, kind of hanging in the wind. What do you make of that situation and how, for it to come down on Jason Garrett, when you think about it, they did win the NFC East 2 of the last 4 years, I think it was, because he didn't win it this year and one other year. 2 of the last 4, but yet, yeah, he appears to be getting fired. What's wrong in Dallas? That roster's loaded.
Yeah, that roster is loaded, but sometimes there's I don't know exactly the number of years that Jason's been there.
10 years.
But as you know, at some point in time, you just need a new voice. Sometimes the voice is worn out, and maybe you're not getting through or to the players like you need to in order to have success. And that's nothing against Jason Garrett or anything against the Cowboys organization. At some point in time, sometimes a new voice, a new thought process, a new vision creates excitement, creates, different feelings among players. And sometimes you just have to do that.
But Hugh, one of the situations, and I'm just not really looking for a comment from you, but just maybe acknowledging it, it seems inconceivable that the Cowboys have won 4 playoff games in 25 years, and they've gone through all, coaches and all kinds of situations. But Jerry Jones as an owner, is it possible for him to look at this situation and maybe say, I need to step back, or you know what I mean, and let the coaches and the football people do what they do? Is it possible or is it impossible for a guy like that who's so hands-on to back away?
I think it's hard for people to back away that's been very involved because that's what gives them their value, as they look at their teams and as they make decisions. So if you have people who are very hands-on and, everybody's saying you need to step away, you might step away for a moment, but that's not who you are.
Right.
And I still think everybody got to still be the best versions of themselves and the best that they can be. So if a guy has had success in putting it together, you can best believe he's going to stay involved in some capacity in order to keep, him feeling that he's making a contribution to wins.
Hugh, I want to go back to the Browns. Baker Mayfield, who you had as a quarterback, and you were bringing him along slowly, and, then when they let you go, he comes out and plays well last year. Really took a step back this year. A lot of people thought he was the next hot thing and going to be the hot quarterback out of that draft, and he really struggled mightily this year. 2-part question. One, do you think he is their quarterback of the future? Like, they can rest and say, okay, this is our guy. We just got to get the right coaching staff in here, but he's our guy. We're not questioning that. And if so, what changes does he have to make? And is it even to some of the, the outbursts he has? Can a guy be that type of, have that type of personality as a quarterback? Because you don't see a ton of the top quarterbacks being that outspoken. Talk to me about that.
Absolutely. I think Baker is who he is, but I think he even sees that he's going to have to adjust a little bit as he moves forward. There's no question I think he is the right quarterback for them. I think what happens in these situations, you got to have people and surround him with people who can take him from A to Z, whereas the football piece, the off-the-field piece, all of it. I just think that's what coaching a quarterback in the National Football League requires. It's not just the X's and O's. It's the things off the field and, how you roll, how you go about your daily routine, period. And I think that's so important. And not saying that didn't get done, but from the outside looking in, you would question how many of those things were done, at a high level. To have him continue to move forward in his second year towards success. He has all the things that I think a quarterback needs to have in a National Football League. What you have to do now is make sure you put the right people around him day in and day out for him to have success.
Hugh, you had 2 chances as a head coach. Would you love a third one? Are you still out there, want to get back in the league and get another opportunity to be a head coach?
Oh, absolutely. I want to get back in the league. I know the process for me to getting a third opportunity won't just happen. I know I probably need to go back and work my way back up the ladder, start back being a coordinator, running offenses again, and go from there. But I want to coach. There's no question about that. And I feel hopefully that in this cycle I'll get a chance to do that.
Hugh, the Dallas job, if it comes open like most of us expect.
When it comes open, it's going to come
I
open.
agree. But Jason Witten's name has been thrown out there. Now, how legitimate that is, we don't know, but NFL reporters are saying he's a possibility. I mean, obviously he has no coaching experience. You haven't sat in that seat twice. It seems to me unfathomable that you can have a guy go from the playing field or the broadcast booth right away to a head coach in the NFL. Talk about that and what goes into that job, and do you think somebody can make that type of leap?
I think that's too big of a leap, personally. It's just too many hats to wear. And to me, when you're the head coach, everybody's looking to you to fix everything, not just offense, not just defense, not just special teams, things within the organization, things on an everyday basis dealing with the media, things dealing with other marketing, everything that goes on in a football organization. So if you haven't had any experience at doing those things, you could start getting pulled in a lot of different directions really, really fast, and you end up doing nothing. So I don't think that that's very doable. I think there's a price to pay to become a head coach in the National Football League, to even coach in the National Football League. And I think people who supersede that normally don't have the success that they're looking for.
All right, those are the words of Hugh Jackson. Great stuff.
Hey,
Hugh, we
Hugh,
appreciate
absolutely. Happy New Year to you and your family, Hugh. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.